Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Triple N Media. This is a series of life lessons. The topic of focus today is stress, how stress manifests itself, how do we respond to stress. In the previous video, I talked about how stress affects our body in a fight or a flight response. I talked about how chronic stress can cause a whole host of problems in our body, mind, and our psyche. In this presentation, I'm going to focus upon how to control your stress. I said control. Some people say you can totally eliminate stress. I don't think so. If you have a bad relationship with your kids, you cannot totally eliminate the stress. You just have to learn how to control the stress so it doesn't eat your own mind. Let us start with, just to recap what I told you in the previous video, the body responds with a fight, which is a sympathetic response, as you can see here, or it responds with a flight, that is runaway situation, which is brought on by the parasympathetic system. Whenever there is a bad signal, like somebody is cutting in front of you, or you're sitting there for a job interview, which is exceedingly important, which is life-saving for you, and all of a sudden your body has this response, what if I don't get the job? And that's when you get all these things, and all these signals are sent to the brain, the hypothalamus, which senses this stress, and it stimulates the steroid releasing hormone, and that stimulates the steroid activating hormone, which leads to increased cortisol. That leads to high blood pressure, high sugar, increased weight, and a whole host of other complications. So if we can block these negative impulses from getting into your brain cells in the hypothalamus, then we will have accomplished some purpose of trying to cut off those negative signals, because most of the negative signal is noise. It is just trying to disturb your tranquility, because as a normal person you're able to handle those situations if it was not related to that particular incident. But since the body is already receiving these negative signals, and these hormones are trying to get into the hypothalamus to create this negative response, if we can block those receptors, what are called the GABA receptors. This is like a fancy amino acid name, but you don't need to worry about it. What happens is, and here is the brain cell, and here is a little receptor, like a gateway. There's a gateway which allows these hormones, the amino acids, to block this gateway, so those negative impulses cannot get into the brain cells to set off this negative cascading cycle. This GABA works similar to benzodiazepines. Those are the tranquilizing medications that are available in the market. That's a controlled substance, like Ativan, Xanax, Klonopin, and a whole host of other drugs in that group. But however, you can get GABA as a naturally occurring substance, either in the form of pills, powders, or teas, which does the same work by blocking these receptors. When they block these receptors, all these negative impulses cannot get into your hypothalamus to set this cascading effect of stress hormone release. So these are the important points that we need to keep in mind. Your tranquilizers work through the alpha GABA receptors, whereas the GABA itself, the naturally occurring amino acid, can work on alpha and also beta receptors. Okay, if you Google GABA treatment supplements, you see a whole host of pills available to supplement that or increase the level of GABA in your brain. And along the same lines, you can also look for like herbal teas, which are high in GABA levels, that can increase the GABA levels in your brain and help you to reduce these negative impulses from having an effect on your brain and on the cortisol level production. So just check it out. They say if you're taking like GABA, taking pills 100 to 200 milligrams, maybe something that might help you to control that. But when you're taking GABA, it is also supposed to reduce your weight because you're not so stressed out and pigging out on food to replace your stress. And also, it is supposed to reduce the blood pressure to a certain degree. I would say do some research, find out what works for you, and if you find something that is working, please do leave some comments, and I will see you in the next video. And before I go, I would like you to take a look at my book on stress-free life, where I talk about various types of effects of stress and how body can control stress in multiple different ways. It is a multi-pronged approach to dealing with stress. I don't think we should depend upon one item or one pill to deal with the stress. There are many things we can do, from our diet, from our exercise, from our social network, and avoiding stressful situations, or totally eliminating certain stressful relationships. A whole number of things that can eventually get your life back to where you want it to be. Thank you so much for watching, and please do subscribe to our channel, and I will see you in the next life lesson.